Welcome to part 2 of the Dragon Force 2 walkthrough featuring the Bozack campaign. So, we pretty much didn't do much in the last one. We watched the introductory sequence, got to meet our starting generals, and that was pretty much that. Here we just got a report from our scouts that there were suspicious sightings at Keio Castle, which is near Highland. So to start off, we want to take our ruler Gangas, have him meet with the rest of the team. For this first castle, we only need a couple of people, so I'm sending him and Fiorina because they're both very good characters, but they both start at level 1, so they need to catch up fast. And to help us accomplish that, we have Mitsuhide and Shu. And we're going to start off against Shu, who is a basic fighter character. Not too spectacular, but not terrible either. And given the time and attention, can actually turn into a pretty decent character. So, pardon any slowdown that happens. My laptop can barely handle these hundreds of sprites on screen. I mean, we're not at that level yet, but it still takes a toll on the hardware. And that's part of the joys of Saturn emulation, but it's come a long way, as you can see here. So we're going to start out by just kicking back and taking it easy. I'm going to send my troops forward, but I've timed it so they won't engage his. I've timed it so that they will deal with him directly. Because if they face off against the soldiers, only a fraction of them are going to make it to him. Not going to be able to do as much damage that way. So I'm throwing out her stone throw ability, which is really not that good. If you time it right, it can take out a lot of troops, but at this stage of the game they barely have any troops, so it's just something to slow the clock down, really. And it gives our troops time to engage the enemy general, which is what we really want. Because the beast generals are very good at fighting hand to hand, so even at level 1, and without a decent weapon, she has no problems dispatching his troops. And that just leaves my men, and they're just gonna take little pot shots at him here and there. Went ahead and put him in melee. I haven't proven this yet. I haven't tested it thoroughly enough, but from my observations, it seems as if when the troops are on melee, they're a little bit more effective with their attacks. So when I don't have to worry about them dealing with other troops, I just go straight for melee. And here we have our first duel fight. Love this music, by the way. Is that a real bright light you see? Yes, and it is beckoning you to my team. But we're gonna have to wait on that. Shu has been captured, which is good. He could have been, well, I don't know if he can be slain. It hasn't happened yet, but there are a lot of characters in this game who you can unintentionally kill in the melee. And this happened in the first Dragon Force as well, but it seems as if it's much more common in this one. Like Mitsuhide, for example. The first time I played this game with Gangas, I was able to capture him. But the last time he was slain, and with other playthroughs, same thing. He's been captured sometimes, slain with others. Anytime you take their HP to 0 in a fight, for certain generals, it's a chance they will be slain. So you have to be careful with that. I'm going to do my best to capture him this time. And the best way to do that is to attack with your offensive magic early, get it out the way, let your troops get them down to the red. And when their bar gets extremely low, most times they will run away. They will not stay and fight. If you wait until the end to use your special attack and finish them off that way, then there's a much higher probability that they will be slain. And we don't want that because he's a good character. He can be very helpful for the caves, which we'll be dealing with shortly. So you see I have the 2 different troops, which is very useful in this game. Your starting leader always has 2 troops, which is very nice. And it's also a great way to show off some of the new mechanics, such as the different troop formations. I had to shut up there so you can hear Gangas there with his aura shot. Very great ability to start off with. And already there you can see that, unlike Gangas, he kind of mixes things up a bit. There's something about him. He's not just your standard beast person, you know. He's got a lot of good things going for him. But he is very much just your gung-ho, you know, bare knuckle attacker, so don't get it twisted. He's about dealing damage, that's what he does. But he's very good at it. And exceptional defense, which is nice for duels. Unfortunately, we're not going to have to worry about a duel because I don't see him making it out of this fight. Hopefully he'll make it out of this fight alive, but he's not coming back. There's no way that he's going to take me on this one. So we just wait. He's lost all his troops, and yes, thank you. He ran away because there's a good chance we're going to capture him now. And we did, and that's good. Now let's go on to the next thing. Hopefully we got some levels too. Okay, Fiorina got a level. Not much. See, with this game, you get experience for every action, whether there was a draw, whether you lost even, whether you captured an opponent. But the way to get the best experience is to KO or knock out the enemy general. You will almost always get a level up in that circumstance. So that's what we really want to go for. So in order to make that happen faster, I'm going to send a couple of generals off to the nearest cave. Cave raiding is new to Dragon Force 2, it wasn't in the first game. It's a great way to level up your characters, and it's also a great way to collect rare and special items, in addition to searching castles. So in the first game you had pain and agony to deal with. They were annoying because you really had no control over their appearance, and they always seemed to appear at the most annoying times. Now this game, you can go to the caves anytime you want to, send anybody you want, and you can even sort of tweak the opponents a bit, because the generals of the caves are always going to match the level of the general who's your division leader. So keep in mind your ruler always has to be the leader of whatever division they're in. So if I send Gangas out to the cave with the team, the enemy general is always going to match his level. So right now he's level 1, they're going to be level 1. If I had sent Gonzalez as the leader at level 3, they would have been level 3. This is important for a lot of reasons that I will get into later. Now with the caves, you have to be careful. Starting off in the game, you have few troops. You don't have the best troops to choose from. The biggest drawback to Bozack is they all start with beasts, every single one of them. And beasts are one of the worst troops in this game. In the first Dragon Force, they had a little bit more use. They were good against some of the stronger units like cavalry, and they could deal with mages pretty well. In this game, unless you're fighting some sort of robot or mechanical soldier, they're pretty much useless. And that's unfortunate. So we really need to get some other crests and swap them out as soon as possible. In the meantime, we can lean on the fact that all of Bozack's generals are very strong physically, both offensively and defensively. So in a pinch, they're going to be able to pull through. You just have to play strategically. So for these battles, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 fights. I'm not going to push it too far, partly because I don't want this video to get too long. What I like to do in the early stage, before my characters are too strong enough to deal with it, I'll just send somebody to sort of thin out the field. Right now, unfortunately, that's Gonzalez because he's already level 3. So I'm going to use him to whittle down the troops. Then when they get to a low number, I can send in somebody else like Gangas to finish things up. Now, Gonzalez is actually surprisingly strong. When I first played this game, I leaned on him the least out of the starting generals, but when I went back to him late in the game, I saw that he was actually very, very effective. Much more so than Marcus, who I gave every shot in the world to prove himself, and he just was a disappointment at every turn. He looks like he would be a good character. I don't know if it's the Guile haircut or something, but you know, Dawson all the way. Dawson all the way. So Marcus is pretty much going to take a backseat for a lot of this in the beginning, because everybody else has proven themselves to me in the past. I know Fiorina can turn into a very great general. Maria is always strong, and Gonzalez, he gets the job done. So, as you can see, he's taken out how many soldiers by himself, losing relatively little health. And at this point, I actually feel pretty confident about sending him in to finish things up with a duel. But because I want Gangas to get that experience, I'm going to put him in. So, sorry man, taking one for the team here. And just want to check info. Yeah, he's got 77 defense, which is really high at this stage. Compared to 50 defense, yeah. Or was that a 60? Either way, this odds are in my favor. And you see the X and the red X and the red triangle is just a sign that our troops are bad against his troops. But we have numbers in our advantage right now. and just the fact that Gangas is much stronger, so not really concerned. So if you're playing the import version of this that hasn't been patched, it's all in Japanese. The markings on the battle screen are going to show you what troops are effective against which troops are weak against which troops. Anything in the red means your troops are bad, ineffective. Red X is the worst, that means they're terrible against them. The red triangle means they're not very good. If you see a white square, that means it's equal, it could go either way, they're evenly matched in some area. If you see a yellow circle, that means your troops are good against them. And if you see like a yellow bullseye with several circles inside of each other, that means that your troops are very effective against whatever troops they're using. Unfortunately, the only troops that are very effective against these ogres that we're dealing with are cavaliers, that is, cavalry and centaurs, which is basically the robot version of the cavalry. And we don't have any of those starting out, so I'm going to try to get some as soon as possible. In the meantime, there are other troops that do okay against ogres, but nothing that we have at the moment. Later on, you'll see a special flying unit that they use in the caves as well that are actually a lot easier to deal with because there are a lot of troops that can deal with them well. And I'll wait until we confront some to get into that. I find that when you mix and match your troops, it seems as if you can deal more damage to the enemy general. So if you have a ground troop, pair them with a flying troop. Or if you have a flying troop, pit them with a ranged unit, someone who can attack from a distance. It seems as if they can land their attacks at the same time, so their energy bar goes down much faster. So as you can see there, even with beasts being as terrible as they are, look at that. That's beautiful. And that's very rare to finish off the enemy general with your very last troop. But there you go. Our treat for today. And best of all, we win a prize for clearing the floor. Now, we could go further down and fight some more, but I don't want to press my luck, so we're just going to back out now. I just wanted to show that off. Don't want the video to get too long. And we got Gangas a level. That's what I really wanted. Got 2 levels. Even better. So I think we're going to stop right there. I'm going to send my troops back to the castle, restock up on troops, save the game, and in the next installment, we can prepare to take on the next castle. I might hit the cave again off screen, get a couple more levels in. I might not record that, I just might. If I do record it, there'll be no commentary, it'll just be straight gameplay video. And as this walkthrough continues, I anticipate there will be more no commentaries or limited commentary. So, thanks for watching and see you soon. Stay tuned.